What is up, guys? I'm back for a recap of last night's ESPN Plus card, which was Junior Assuncao versus Marlon Moraes 2. And man, I just want to start off by shouting out Michael Bisping. He was a color commentator, and he also did the in-cage interviews after the fights. And he was leading up to it, talking about it on his podcast, Believe You Me, and he was super excited to go to Brazil and do his first commentating job. And he was always one of my favorites at the desk at Fox. Him and DC, I just felt were the most natural. And he went down to Brazil and did the color commentary, did the in-ring interviews, and, you know, it didn't go perfect, but he did wonderful. You couldn't tell it was his first time. He was super comfortable in there, and I was impressed. I hope we get to see more of him doing that. So the fight card for me started off with the Johnny Walker fight, and so I got home, turned TV on, and Johnny Walker's coming out. He's dancing on his way to the ring, and that's kind of his signature walkout. So the fight starts, and it ends as quickly as it starts, really. Johnny throws a hook kick that grazes. It doesn't graze. It connects and pushes his opponent back just enough for him to spin in with a spinning back fist that just cracked, dude. Drops him. Johnny Walker moves in and throws just a brutal Pride-style soccer kick that misses dude by a toe's length. And if he would have hit him, that would have really, really hurt him. But misses, jumps in, hits him a couple more times, and the ref stops it. I think it was unintentional, of course. It was the heat of the moment. Thank goodness it missed, because he would have been disqualified. But nevertheless, he misses the kick, jumps in, hits him a couple more times, ends the fight. And I think I picked Johnny Walker to win that fight. And then we moved on to the Alex Olivera David Tamer fight, which I had Alex Olivera winning by submission. And Alex Olivera looked great in that fight. The fight starts off with a really nasty double eye poke, and they stop it. They give Alex Olivera some time, all the time he really needed, and then the fight restarts, and off a break there's another little poke, and Oliveira looks to the ref, and the ref just tells him to continue fighting, and that's when Alex Olivera gets really aggressive, almost Jose Aldo-esque, and comes in aggressive, throws, I think it was a lead leg front kick to the face, and just cracks David Tamer right at the eye and nose line. Gives him a little cut, swells up that eye, and just continues being aggressive, and during that, David Tamer just throws either a right or left hook, and boom, just cracks him, sits him down, and you think at that moment, oh my God, David Tamer is going to pounce in and finish him. And when David pounces in, Alex, regains guard, and Alex is so nasty on the ground. He's able to stifle the position until he's able to get back up. He gets back up, and they fight for a little bit more, and then the round ends. And I'm thinking, what a round. That was one of those rounds where you're just like, wow. Round 2 starts, and Alex wastes no time. Gets in David's face. What did I write down here? I was writing this down by the light of my phone last night in the living room. Yeah, the striking of Oliveira in round 2 is what sets up a Darce choke. He starts beating him up on the feet. David might even have shot for a takedown. Alex probably sprawled and nevertheless locks in a Darce choke. And right at that moment, it might have been an anaconda choke, but a variation of one of those. And you just know, that look when it's completely locked up and it's tight, and he starts just turning that angle, and David Tamer taps out. It was an anaconda choke. Just a an incredible fight. So those two fights go on, and I'm thinking, man, this is going to be one of those fight cards that I can talk about tomorrow and be excited. And I didn't even know any of the fighters that well, so it lived up to it. And we move on to the Damian Maia fight, which against Lehman Good, who I predicted Lehman Good to win by TKO. Through his guard. That was my bold prediction, and how wrong was I? The only thing I wrote was Maia shut shit down. Damian Maia the fight starts, Damian Maia closes the distance, keeps Lehman closer to the fence, and Bisping called it beautifully. He was like, he's pushing his back against the fence, which is not where Lehman Good wants to be. Any second now, he's going to shoot in for that single leg. And right as he finishes that sentence, he shoots him for the single leg, takes him down, and then it's just Damian Maia. He's like a freaking blanket on you. Just inches his way up his body, onto his back, secures a rear naked choke. Lehman fights it for a while, but eventually just has to submit to the rear naked choke. Just beautiful submission from beginning to the end of the fight. All Damian Maia just imposing his will, doing his thing at, I think they said 40 years old. So, what an amazing fight there. Then we move on to Jose Aldo versus, what was his name? I was pronouncing it all wrong. Mociano. And what a fight that was. That started off really good in round one. They were both trading, trying to impose their will on each other. Mociano was in the fight, and Michael Bisping again after the first round was saying, okay, this is now in the second round when Mociano needs to turn it up, because he knows he can compete now with Jose Aldo. He knows he's good enough to be in there with him. It's time for him to work his fight. And right as he says that, Jose gets clipped with something and fires back and hits Mociano hard. And right when he does that, just what do I have here? Jose turns up and he hits him, just comes in with reckless abandon, just old Jose Aldo. Body shot, headshot, just swinging crazy, hitting him with big shots, and TKOs him in round two. Then Jose Aldo runs, and they're in Brazil, jumps the cage, and you can just see all the commissioners in their black shirts, scared, probably flashback into Khabib and Conor, and he jumps in the crowd, because the crowd is pro, Jose Aldo, and they're embracing him, and you can just see some of the commission, they know kind of what's going on, and they're telling the crazier ones that are trying to grab Jose and freak out, and they're like, yo, chill, he's going to come out of the crowd. Nothing like that is going to happen. But they're trying to protect the fighter as well as the crowd, so the urgency was there. They get him back in the cage. It was fun. It was interesting to see that. It was Jose Aldo doing his thing, which is cool to see because after Conor beat him, then the two max fights he lost, then he just beat Jeremy Stevenson. So, Jose Aldo's a fun fighter to watch, and I think Bisping was talking about he wants to retire soon, so he wants to fight 3 times this year. That was one. Let's see some more Jose Aldo. I think it'd be fun to watch him fight a couple more times, and Bisping touched on that as well. We'll see what happens there. And then we move on to Junior Assuncao Marlon Moraes. I gotta tell you guys, man, I fell asleep during this fight. I fell asleep. Made it all the way, fell asleep. I do that sometimes. But it ended fast. Marlon Moraes by guillotine. Marlon Moraes has a legitimate argument for a bantamweight title shot. I know Henry Cejudo is probably going to come up and challenge TJ Dillashaw because we want to see that. We want to know if Henry Cejudo is the bantamweight champion. So I feel like that has to kind of happen next. But then Man, Marlon Moraes has to fight for the championship next. He avenged this loss, which was the only, I think, hiccup in his in the last stint of his career. If the Henry Cejudo fight didn't go down like that, or the Henry Cejudo fight did not happen, it'd be Marlon Moraes fighting TJ Dillashaw for the bantamweight championship. So that has to, that's definitely going to happen. And it's a bummer that it can't happen right now versus him and TJ Dillashaw, because I think that's the best fight for sure for the bantamweight title. I think it'll have the most technique in it and two really good finishers. I'd like to pull up Marlon Moraes' MMA record because he finishes dudes, man. He finished Jimmy Rivera. He just finished Assuncao. He finishes dudes, and so does TJ Dillashaw. So, like I said, if that fight did not happen against Henry Cejudo, it would be Marlon versus TJ. But the good thing about the Henry Cejudo fight is it ended really quickly. So they could run it back at 35 fairly quickly, and then, depending on how that fight goes, have Marlon Moraes fight for the title without having to fight again or sit on the sidelines too long. So those are kind of my thoughts on those fights there. We got some fight cards coming up. We'll be breaking those down as they go. It's Super Bowl Sunday, so I hope everybody is at home and is ready for a good Super Bowl. Thanks, guys. You know what it is. See you next time.